Before I went to the Ames program, my life was pretty, I'd say, in my description, pretty stale. I didn't exactly know what I was going to do with my life.
I was a little bit lost, and I was always kind of getting in trouble and stuff. And I didn't know what I was going to do, so I was just going to, I thought, well, as soon as I graduate, maybe I'll just join the Army. It never happened, though. Just after my first experience making a video, I kind of realized, well, I might have a little bit something going on here.
The idea was we need to get our voices out there. We need to see ourselves represented in the media. We need to have positive ideas of Native youth who are doing interesting work or have interesting ideas and that we can relate to.
For the most part, some of my earlier films kind of dealt with like street life kind of stuff and like kind of poverty type, like drugs and suicide kind of thing. And it still feels like it's inside of me, and I can't shake it, And it's just like I feel like there's all these things that are like heavy issues that come out when I'm writing. In a way, I think it was a cathartic experience. I definitely released a lot of tension.
Well, I think there's kind of the two extremes in representation of Native people. I think there's the romanticized noble savage image, which you see in things like Dances with Wolves and Disney projects a lot. This Disneyfication of Native people. I think sometimes that's more insidious because we start to believe that representation of ourselves too, and it's strictly one-dimensional. It's pretty much a controlled kind of manipulated image, and polarizes the whole good for Indians versus the bad Indians. The good Indians being the kind in Pocahontas and Dances with Wolves, and the bad Indians being the kind that live around you. And it's even hard to pinpoint where it comes from, because it is this sort of all-encompassing, sort of repression in some ways that it's hard to put your finger on, but definitely you grow up knowing those stereotypes. You grow up knowing that people think Native people are drunks, people think Native people are lazy, people think Native people are stupid. And, it might not be that your teacher has told you that or that, another kid has said that to you, but there's this cultural baggage that you grow up with that you internalize. But internalized racism, comes from all that cultural baggage, and it sits inside us, and until you have an experience, I think, where you can express who you are and start to understand where that is coming from, I think it stays with a lot of people, and it manifests itself in shame and violence, in not respecting yourself.
Well, for me, it's like I still felt like because I've always, in my raps, I write about being like a third-class soldier, but I always write about striving to reach for the top, whatever the top is. Like you feel like you're third class, or when you feel like that's the mindset that you have, like you're gonna be poor and you're gonna grow up to be poor and you're gonna grow up to be on welfare, then you feel like maybe you should just only hang around with people that are poor and only do things that poor people do, just so you fit in and so you're accepted. It's the structure of society and how it was meant to be, almost in a way, to keep you poor and to keep you there, to keep you poor and to keep you on welfare.
Hearing the stereotypical words that I've heard my whole life, you're not going to be anything anyways, Michelle, you're just an Indian. I started to believe that eventually. I mean, sure, I was proud to be First Nations, but I still didn't feel like I had the power to become anything. But coming here, I was told by a lot of people that I had the capability to share my stories, I had the capability to express my feelings, and I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was more like, well, what, it's just a story. So what? Who cares? That doesn't mean anything. But it really does.